back to my channel. Hope you're having a great day. Today I was just going to walk you all through my everyday basic makeup routine. So if that's something you're interested, please like and subscribe and we'll get right into it. So I've already done my skincare routine. I'm just going to pop my hair back. So I don't tend to use a makeup primer, so to speak. I do have oily skin, but I do, after putting on moisturizer and stuff, tend to use this Farsali liquid powder. So I just put a few drops on my hand, and then I just tend to put it in the places where I'm oily, which is my T-zone and sometimes my chin as well. So it goes on like a liquid, but then it kind of dries down to kind of like a clay powder kind of type texture. And I find it's really good and helps to tan control oil underneath my makeup. And I only needed maybe 4 or 5 drops of that. So a little goes a long way. So I don't use, as I said, I don't use a primer. I just use that to kind of prep my skin. Some days, if I feel like my pores on my nose are really bad, I'll use this Tarte Timeless Smoothing Primer on my nose, there and there, just to help fill in the pores a bit. But today, I don't need that. So then for foundation, my two go-tos are kind of the L'Oreal Infallible Fresh Wear and the Dior Backstage Face and Body Foundation. The L'Oreal I have in shade 130 True Beige, and the Backstage I have in shade 1N. Today I'm just going to use the L'Oreal. So I like this foundation because it's very lightweight, but it has decent coverage, and you don't need much of it. So I just put one pump on the back of my hand. As you can see, it's quite runny. And then I tend to use a foundation brush. So this is just the Sigma flat kabuki brush. Sorry, it's dirty. I use it. And what I do is I just dot this all over my face. I don't put much on my forehead, mainly focus on the areas where I'm much more red. Just gonna use a mirror here. Sorry if I cover my face to check blending. Usually once I kind of go over with a light layer, I will put maybe a dot in certain places where I feel I need a little bit more coverage. And when I'm putting on my foundation, I tend to tap it into the skin rather than rub. So that's how I find it gets streak marks. I do tend to put some briefly a little bit onto my neck. No, I just blend it up. So, as you can see, I just have a light coverage, light to medium on my skin today, and that didn't take much. I just used the one pump that was on my hand. So once I have done that, I usually use for concealer, I use the Benefit Boiing Cakeless concealer. And I don't use much of this, so I just usually put just a dot there and then a dot on the outside corner, and I do the same on my other eye. And then to blend it out, I just use this brush. I think it's actually like an angled corner eyeshadow brush. I don't know which one it's specifically called, but it's from BH Cosmetics. And what I do is, because when you have concealer, your darkest area is usually here and here. I tend to just focus it. So what I do is I just focus it on that corner. And as you can see, already so much better. And then with this one, I tend to dab it because my eyes go down quite a lot, so I want to lift them as much as possible. And already looks so much better. This eye looks so much more lifted than this one. It's going to do the same on the other eye. Don't use much concealer because my eyes tend to crease underneath quite easily, so the more products are there, the more it creases. So, and there you go. That's all I do for concealer. If I don't tend to do all the highlighting stuff, find it just adds more product to melt off my oily skin. To set the concealer, I'm currently using, this is a travel size of the Laure Mercier translucent powder. What I do is I just take a little bit on, this is a Morphe M438. It's kind of just like a mini tapered one. So what I do is just take a little bit, and I just press that under my eye. Because I don't want to use excessive powder because that's just going to exaggerate any creasing that happens under my eye. Then I just do the same on the other side. And that's what I do to set underneath my eyes. I don't put concealer on my eyelids or anything because I always have very, very oily eyelids, and concealer just goes creasy even if I set it on my eyelids. To set the rest of my face, I'm currently using the Australis Fresh and Flawless pressed powder, and I am shade light beige. What I do is, because once again I have very oily skin, I take essentially a bigger version of that brush that I use to set under my eyes. It's just a big tapered one. It is the Sigma Tapered Face. What I do is I put it on one side, and then specifically in the areas that are oily, I press it into the skin. Now this powder does have a little bit of coverage itself. Not heaps, but enough that it kind of blurs, and I love this powder because this is the one powder that I found can make my makeup last really well against my oils. I don't tend to put powder over all my face because whilst yes I have oils, it's mainly only in this T-zone, so you don't want to make the rest of it all matte and flat when you don't need to. So that's all I do to set my face. I then move on to using a bronzer. I don't contour unless it's for a special occasion, really, because it's not something I'm great at, and I consider it a bit of overkill for day-to-day life. So I'm currently using the Marc Jacobs Tan-Tastic bronzer. I like this because it's not super duper pigmented and you can build it up, and it's quite a nice shade, so it's not too dark on me. So this is the brush I use for bronzer. It's from PH Cosmetics, so I'm not sure exactly which one it is, sorry. So I kind of just get a bit of product on my brush, and what I do is I start at my hairline, because that's where the most pigment's going to come off in terms of when you apply it. And you want to start up here, because then you can blend it into your hairline, whereas if you start down here, you're going to blend up or down. So I start there, and then I kind of come down to the just before the apples of my cheeks. Because you want to have a bit of warmth to your skin, but you don't want to look like you just have orange. Do the same on the other side. And I just blend in circular motions. If I'm wearing my hair up for the day, I will tend to do a bit of colour up here. I'll just do it. I don't do a lot, because today I'm wearing my hair down, so I normally would not bother with it. And if I really want to, sometimes what I'll do is I'll squish my brush to be flat, and then I'll do it a little bit on the end of my nose here where it's a bit bigger, because then it helps to kind of slim my nose there. And that's all that I do for bronzer. For highlighter, I'm currently using the Flower Beauty Shimmer and Strobe highlighting palette. The shade I normally go for is the gold one here on the end, but I use all three. To highlight, I'm currently using the Morphe M504. It's a little one that's got a bit, it's quite fluffy. I find it's very good to be able to precisely put a highlighter. So just grab a little bit and tap it off. And just put a little bit. I don't like to put a lot of highlighter because I'm oily. What I like about this is there's not glitter in it, but it's still shimmery. As you can see, just catches the light a little. But this isn't too dark on my skin tone that it's bad. So, and then sometimes with the leftover on my brush, I'll just do tip of my nose and then bridge my nose with this here as well. Doesn't add a lot, adds enough that it's little. Next up, for my eyebrows, I don't normally fill them in because I do get my eyebrows tinted. So on a day-to-day basis, I just use the Benefit Gimme Brow Plus. I am shade 3. So what I do is get a bunch on the brush, and then I just tend to brush up. So you want to brush up because that lifts your eyebrows a bit. And that is what I do. So it just gives a little bit more fullness to your brows, but it's not over the top drawn in. is what I do. Sometimes if I feel like it, I will draw in the tails a bit more, but usually when my eyebrows are freshly tinted, definitely don't need to. Next up, mascara. What I'm currently using is the Tarte Lights Camera Lashes. So I don't tend to do bottom mascara on a day-to-day basis. I find it just transfers down. So what I do is load up the brush and I just put it on my top lashes. So I tend to try to look down to try and help not get it on my lids too much. And I just brush through. Sometimes I'll wiggle, it helps get a bit more product on there. I like this one because it separates and helps lengthen, but it doesn't give you spider lashes. And that's the difference there. So as you can see, also just lifts the eye a bit more. Do the same on the other one. Sometimes I just do the one coat, sometimes I'll do two, depends how I'm feeling for the day and how it's looking after one coat. This I would happily wear just after one coat. As you can see, just lifts the eyes a bit. In terms of setting spray, I don't like to use matte setting spray on top of this makeup because I use mainly matte makeup on my face, and I also have the protection for my oils between my makeup and the skin in the form of the Farsali liquid powder. So what I normally do is to add a bit of life back into my face is I use the Glow Recipe Watermelon Glow mist, but I'm currently empty, so on this one I'll just leave this like this, and once my oils start coming through a bit, it will melt a bit more. So that was my basic everyday makeup look. I hope you learned some tips that help you. Probably going to be doing some more videos like this, maybe some foundation wear tests or some just maybe natural kind of eyeshadow looks. If that's something you're interested in, please subscribe and I'll be posting more videos soon. Thank you. Bye.